Yeah, great to be here. Really excited for this week's opportunity. Recap our win versus Auburn. I thought our team was very tough, very resilient, tough-minded. But as coaches, we got to do better. There's a lot of things that we have to clean up from that game. O-line, tight ends, they got to play way more physical. Quarterbacks got to continue to improve, take care of the football in critical situations, unnecessary sacks. Defense, too many explosive runs, penalties that were undisciplined, and then coaching strategy. I got to do a better job at the end of the game, making sure we get an opportunity to kick the field goal with the ball at the 30. So plenty of things for us to own as a group and focus on getting better. Vanderbilt, awesome opportunity, great week. Obviously, I think Clark's done an outstanding job. His team's very tough, very physical. They're a complete team. They work together. That you can tell they're very complementary. He's built it with veteran players, great schemes, fundamentals, and obviously the quarterback works in sync with that. It's going to be a great environment, sold-out crowd. Game day is going to be there. So really fun opportunity for us. Our team needs to work this week to improve, get better. We have to play with better pad level. We got to play with better footwork on the offensive line and tight ends to stay square. We have to be better with our second step. We have to be more accurate in our throws. We have to be better in pass protection at the running back position. Our defense has to take better tracking angles. We can't commit penalties that lead to extended drives. So with that, I'll open it up for questions.
Start left here, Gabe.
Eli, I wondered if we could get your thoughts on Zion's enthusiasm at the beginning of overtime and then the way he went out and backed it up.
Yeah, great. Positive, contagious energy. Love who Zion is as a competitor. I love who he is as a teammate. Love who he is as a captain. And, there's benefits and negatives to having microphones everywhere. Like, this game is about people being ready to play. And he was obviously ready to play, and our guys fed off of it. And if you don't like it, don't listen.
Come here with Eli.
Coach, with Vandy, obviously they were a team that was a tough out last year. In what ways have they gotten better from the group we even saw in 24?
They've been a tough out every year we played them, except for my first year. 2021, it was a one-possession game. 2022, it was a one-possession game. We needed a 4th-and-1 stop by D-Rob to seal the game. 23 was a 10-point game. They cut it to one possession in the fourth quarter. Last year was a double overtime game. So it's always been a competitive one-score game. How they improved, obviously I think the quarterback's 1 year better. They do a lot with him in the pass game. I think their tight end, Stowers, is an excellent player who's just gotten better, more chemistry. Their offensive line is physical. They brought in some transfers. Their size is better. Their running backs are improved. Defensively, they're very physical and aggressive. I think number 2, the nickel player is as good as anybody we've played against. I think he does an excellent job. The DN Capers is really good. Martell Hyde at corner is an elite corner in this league. So they've got players with great experience coming back, but they're a veteran team. I mean, most of the transfers they took out of the portal had played a lot of reps, and so they're on the upper end. I think 75% of their team is either graduate player or senior.
Callum?
Paul was talking after the game about the difficulty of defending the cover zero and Auburn bringing zero after the game. What is the counter to that? I'd imagine you'll see it from a few teams that you get down the line here. What is the counter to that moving forward?
Execution. I mean, there's zero. You got one or two options. We checked protections. We had a protection bust on one in the third quarter that should have been easily picked up, and you're going to have to throw off of somebody, but we didn't do it. We executed it a couple of times on that last drive. We executed it for the last third down conversion, but we got to do a better job in protection, making sure all 7 people are on the same page, and then quarterbacks and wide receivers have to execute. Throws have got to be accurate. The interception in the third quarter or in the second quarter really led to us not being able to extend the game the way we needed to, and that's an accuracy throw. Ball can't be left inside.
Eli, just also with regard to Zion, when you guys were first looking at him and seeing him, recruiting him, what did you see kind of in his wiring, and how much, obviously, does that account for everything that goes with his physical attributes, just the mindset?
It depends which time you're talking about. We recruited him out of high school, and he committed to us and then signed with Michigan State, so that was fun. And then obviously out of the transfer portal. The young man's always had great energy, always was great to be around. Coach Russ tells a great story of his first day here when he got cleared. He literally got cleared from the physical stuff like 4 minutes before his group started the workout. So he got changed, went in there, puked 3 times during the workout, and every time he puked, he just came back and kept working. And you just knew he was going to be the right fit for our culture. And I think his leadership has grown. Last year, I remember when we lost the A&M game, and I was worried about the locker room, and I pulled him aside and he said, "Coach, I haven't won 4 games in my college career. Like, we're fine. We'll be good. I love this stuff." And so he's always just been really positive. Yeah, I mean, he's a great young man, and, he's got a side to him that's, the way he plays. So.
And with that intensity, is it sometimes hard to find that line for him to balance with it, feeling that, like with the penalty in the previous game?
No. I mean, Bill Parcells said it best: if you're going to play with an edge, you're probably going to live with an edge, and he's got an edge. And I mean, I'm so tired of hearing about that penalty cost us the game. That was the second play of the game. It didn't cost us anything. Is it something that we got to correct? Absolutely. Is it a self-inflicted wound? 100%. But that narrative needs to go in the trash can, because that didn't cost us jack squat.
On the left.
Eli, with Diego, just what makes his running style unique to defend, and how have you seen him as a thrower kind of be a little more smarter this year?
Oh, I don't know that he's smarter. I think he's just improved his accuracy. He's got a lot of weapons. He's another year into the system with the cohesion of that group. He's a very headsy runner. He knows how to attack angles. He knows how to utilize pump fakes with the quarterback position. He knows how to eliminate angles, which is really just a savviness. He can get skinny, and he can lower his shoulder. I mean, he's got all the traits you want of a really tough physical runner.
Cody.
Was curious what your reaction was to rewatching film, especially on that last play, just watching Trotter hop the running back, and then also just what he's brought to the program.
Yeah, obviously that last play was extremely impressive, not only by him. Damon Wilson obviously was held and makes the sack. Trot leaps the running back. I showed that to the group of guys, or to the team, as a outstanding play. I think Trot's getting better and better. His blitz path, there was that one in Kansas where he could have been a free hitter and he kind of slowed up, and I think D-Nick's just been really continuing to work with him on his blitz path and running through people, and he's a big physical player who's been awesome. Another guy who very, very pleased that he's on our team.
You've gotten a lot of opportunity for Santana Banner the last couple of weeks. What have you seen from his development throughout the season, and especially these last 2 games with the bigger role that he's taken on?
Yeah, he plays in on our sub packages, and then rotates obviously with the safety group. Does a really good job in man-to-man coverage, which is going to be something that has to continue to evolve when we bring pressure. But he's an instinctual player and a physical player that's got great size, length, and can run and will hit.
On the left there.
Coach, the run game slowed down a little bit against Auburn.
A little bit, a lot.
How are you guys looking to get that back, and just how important is it relative to the rest of the offense?
Well, if you're going to win on the road, you need to be able to run the football. And like I said, I think we have to be better at pad level. I didn't think our pad level was right. I didn't think our footwork was very good. We weren't staying square. We were crossing over, so our second step wasn't where it needed to be. Our hands weren't in the right placements. We looked timid, like we weren't sure what we were or why we were running certain plays. The plays we came downhill, I thought our counter scheme popped for us. For whatever reason, we didn't get back to it enough. So I think it's a combination of making sure that we come back to plays that work, and it's a combination of making sure that our offensive line and tight ends are playing aggressive, and they aren't overthinking it and playing with better fundamentals. And that's on our coaching staff to get corrected.
Eli, no, way back, even going back to spring, you mentioned, hey, we need a jump out of Marquise Gracial this year, and obviously made 2 pretty flash plays against Auburn, and on the broadcast they talked a little bit about his evolution off the field. Just wonder if you could talk about his development in both areas.
Yeah, Big Grizz. That's my nickname for him. I think, we had a chance to spend some time together in Harmons, Jamaica on a work site. And I think it was great for me to get a chance to just spend some quality time. And I think it was great for him just to be around me in a different way instead of always calling him into the office and, challenging him on grades or challenging him on effort. It was just two dudes, being in a foreign country, working their butt off, wishing we had a cold shower or a hot shower at some point or a hot meal. But, I think also it kind of shifted his perspective, I think, and he can speak more about it, but he got up and shared with the whole group about how his perspective changed instead of a woe is me attitude into more of an attitude of gratitude about the blessings that he does have in his life and the blessings of being able to play college football. And I think, when your mindset shifts from blame to gratitude, it can change a lot of things. And mindset's the number one indicator of success. And so for him, I think, being able to change that perspective and shift that perspective has been able to help him grow as a football player. He takes coaching better, takes challenges better, and it's been awesome to see. I think he's established a new standard for himself that now it's our job to continue to reinforce and make sure he lives up to that standard continually.
Back over here. Eli.
Coach, with Donovan, you talked about him a little bit after the game, but big picture, when he's in some of these contested catch scenarios, what makes him so capable of
Alubide?
plays? Yeah, Alubide.
That's a great meme on Twitter. Yeah, I think he's just got really good ball skills. He is a natural hand catcher, and so he has great hand-eye coordination, and he's a very good route runner. He does a really good job re-stemming, creating separation at the top of his routes, and then Bo has a lot of confidence in who he is as a pass catcher, and so he's unafraid to give him opportunities.
On Vanderbilt's tight ends,
Yeah.
them specifically, what is it about them, the way they use them, that's unique and makes it so difficult to defend?
Well, I think one is their size. They both have great length in size and speed and can run. And then obviously they get you in a lot of 12P or heavy 12, run the football, and you try to stop it in man-to-man, and then you're putting your linebackers in conflict or your safeties in conflict. Are you fitting the C area or are you playing man? So, that's a challenge. They do a really good job with it. I think their offensive coordinator is as good as anybody in the country at creating opportunities to get 6 yards, 6 yards, 6 yards and stay ahead of the chains, and he's really good.
On your right.
Eli, College Game Day is coming to a Mizzou game for the first time in 11 years. They've only covered Mizzou 6 times. I'm curious, does that amplify the stage itself at all, or does that change anything in preparation or make the game even bigger?
Is it in First Bank Stadium?
I'm not sure where it is this week.
Doesn't affect anything then for us. We're the road team. So we'll show up, we'll go to the visitors' locker room, we'll walk out on the field and play the game. Whatever else they got for their fans there is up to them, but it doesn't affect us. I don't even think they want to talk to us.
You talk a lot about the significance of mindset. I wonder if you might be able to elaborate just a little bit on what goes into Mindset Monday and what the significance of that is in building your week.
Yeah, I think Mindset Monday is when you have an opportunity to come in and you get to learn and grow from the previous game, the mistakes, the successes. You learn from it and then set your jaw on what lies ahead. And every week's got a unique challenge, and we talk very specifically about what our plan to win is, and that goes into Monday. And so, you got to start planning it. You got to start visualizing it. You have to start understanding what lies ahead for each and every day moving forward. For us, we got to really improve, and the only way we're going to improve in stopping the run or running the football is to have a great Toughness Tuesday, starting an inside drill and then moving on to Dirty Show. And so, you got to set your jaw on Monday knowing, all right, we got to improve. coaches clearly pointed out these are the areas that we were deficient in the road, and if we don't get those fixed, then we're destined to live in the past, and that's a great recipe for failure. And so, you have a choice. You have just like Marquise, you have an attitude that you get to choose. Do you try to improve, or do you think you've already arrived? So, there's a lot of great things about winning, but winning, football teams either continue to get better each week or they get stagnant, and there's a great Sean McVay quote about the best teams don't have to be the best at everything. They got to be the best at what they do. And so, the challenge for us is figuring out what exactly we feel like we're really good at and keep improving at it, and set that mindset on Monday.
Two more. Cody and then Nick.
You've talked about Diego's running ability, and well his ability to create out of structure. Having played a couple of quarterbacks already from Kansas and South Carolina, just how does Diego compare his ability to create out of structure compared to some of the others?
Yeah, I do think that's kind of a theme for college football right now, and specifically for the quarterbacks that we've played. You speak about Daniels and Sellers, and even Jackson Arnold, I thought, did a nice job scrambling. And so, our guys have some experience. I don't know that any of them are as good at the improvisation as Diego. I think he is. There's a third down play where LSU has everybody taken away. They have a DN with a free runner on him, and he's able to make him miss with a 3-move in the backfield and then throw it to the tailback who's not even in the play. He's literally not even an option, but he's eligible, and he found him. So, that kind of stuff, it's hard to replicate. And again, I think he's the best that I've seen doing that. He's a magician back there. There were plays like that against us last year, So we got to be really disciplined in how we tackle. We got to be disciplined in our angles. And it'll be a real challenge. But so far, he's the best that we've seen. And those other two guys are really, really good players. But, his ability is the best.
Finish up with what?
Coach, similarly to Vahe's question about Zion, when you were looking at Keegan Trost in the transfer portal, what made him desirable for you all to want to bring him in, and how have you seen that manifest so far this season?
Yeah, Keegan's probably he was the offensive lineman of the game this last week. He's been our most consistent offensive lineman. To be able to fill in at the right tackle position behind the number 7, to fill in for the number 7 pick in the draft and really not have us fall off at all has been very impressive. I think the thing that held him back from the portal was that the style of play that he was in the previous year, you weren't sure how that would translate. But for us, we saw his athleticism. We knew some of the people who he'd worked with in the past and felt good about who he was. I think the brotherhood, Keegan has been at 4 different schools in 4 years, and so I think it took us a while to break down those walls, but now that he's totally invested in the brotherhood, he's another great story from the mission trip. And being a part of the team, I think he's really grown. I think that group of 5 is really, there's really about 8 of them that hang out all the time, is really gelled. He's been impressive. He's done an excellent job. We went into the matchup, and obviously they got some pressure on us, and they did some good stuff, but I thought we held up against their defensive ends pretty well, and I thought Keegan and Caden did an excellent job with those guys. So it forced them to bring pressures. So we got to do a better job being able to pick those pressures up. John, you have a question?
Yeah, just quick, you talked about the line and pad level and the hands. I feel like that's an everyday thing. So
Yeah.
How does that kind of get away from guys?
Yeah, I think it's actually we call it every damn day drills, right? And you have to do those drills every damn day. The reality of it is, it's how you do those drills that matter. Like, I can go every day and read a book, but if I'm not in tune to trying to read and grow and get better, then if I'm not intentional about the work, and I think we have to be more intentional about the work. And then obviously, as a coaching staff, we have to take the gray out so that we can play faster. I think when you watch, there's some timidness, like we're not firing off the ball confident, and this is our target, this is our landmark, and we're resetting a new line of scrimmage. We were like timid on what they were going to do. We have to eliminate that gray. And then we have to do a better job of coming back to plays that are working and not getting away from them. When you hit the counter for 8 yards and you don't call it again, that ain't good, period. And that's on me. Hell, I knew it was a good call. I got reinforce that we got to get back to it. So, that's everybody. And I think more than anything, I'm taking ownership of it's got to improve. And it's not fair, I think, as coaches to get up here and illustrate or push all the blame to the players. Like, at the end of the day, it's my job and it's our coach's job. We get paid a hell of a lot of money to put these guys in the right positions, and we got to do it. So,
All right.
MIZ.